Hello again. It's good to be back. Sorta. I have been staring at this computer for probably half hour, more than that, probably. Trying to think of what I was going to say. Probably should have done that well beforehand. But I just wanted to try to let it flow. I know I said yesterday that I was going to do this today. It's way late now. So you'll probably be watching this tomorrow, Tuesday. I wanted to do this after Super Bowl Sunday. Get my thoughts out. Congrats to the Seahawks. That played out about what I thought. Seattle's defense was way better than I even was giving it major credit for. Uh, but yeah, congrats to the Seahawks. Good for Sam Darnold, right? First one out of that 2018 draft class that had, you know, Josh Allen, guy named Baker Mayfield, taken at number one by, you know, deep breaths, guys. Uh, so, for those of you who may not be wondering who the hell I am or what is this guy doing or where I went, this is Believelandia. Started it March around the uh, NCAA tournament. Made it about 12 episodes, I believe. Yes. Ironically, the last one was titled "The Never Ending Jimmy Haslam's Never Ending Circus." So that tells you anything. I'm trying to fix my mic. Sorry. Uh, so what happened? Nothing good. Um, Long story short, uh, my dad passed away, and that kind of killed the vibe of what I was trying to do here. And that is not fair to people that the very few that actually watched. Um, I know my shining personality uh, wasn't going to shine as much. And sports really didn't become important at all, or talking about it, or joking about it, or anything like that. A lot of things. Just, yeah. So, those of you who know, yeah, I spent, it's been 8 months now, or close to 8 months soon, that that happened. And I've been staring in the abyss probably ever since for about 8 months, trying to slowly claw my way out and try to find some peace. And I found that. I did. And I'm getting there. Grief is it's it's a bitch. It's then to, not only grief but losing your dad. The main reason that I am this sports fan mainly these guys and the Buckeyes. If I go too long about this, I'm going to probably stop the recording and bawl my eyes out. Anyway, uh, I hope everybody likes the revamp. This is what I had in mind when I started this. I just didn't know how to do it. But those people that know me, I will figure it out and make it work and make it happen. And I have. And I'm pretty happy. Um, I don't know why I'm back here, other than I was sitting around towards, I think it was about the end of the season, about the Browns. And I, all the shit going on, Stefanski looking like a dead man walking. Uh, I sat there and, I really had a question that, I wonder what Dad would think of this shit show going on now. That's what we did. I've I've watched so many Browns games, so many Sundays, just sitting around and watching football with him. Buckeyes a whole weekend. Uh, I'm so that's where it started, and I wanted to revive Believelandia again. I all the stuff going on. Uh, time of my last recording, last video I did. Uh, News was not great at that point, and um, I wasn't happy with how I was doing my videos or what they look like, and I put it on the shelf because you know if I recall, it was the same time uh, Kevin Love's father passed, and that hit hard. Just thinking about what he was going through, what eventually I was going to go through, and yeah, I put it on. I just shelved it because I couldn't put any heart into it. Um, then we get through. He passes away. It's June. Uh, like and subscribe if you want. Yeah, if you would please like and subscribe, please. Uh, I miss him every day. June 15th, 2025. Um, he he passed. Father's Day. It's pretty on brand for him. Um, Man, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. Uh, I'm going to pick it up here. I want to get this out of the way, and then we get into the Browns. Just overall, not anything in depth. I'm not going to do those videos anymore. Uh, so anyway, I was sitting there watching this season come to a crumbling end, and um, man, he, I just, I just, this is him, Mr. James A. Myers, born September 6th, 1956. Jeez. Whose idea was it to put his picture? Uh, yep, this is my dad. The biggest, the biggest football fan you will ever come across. One of the biggest Browns fans you will ever know. I will ever know. He loved the Buckeyes just as much as the Browns. Best parts of my growing up was watching the 90s Indians with him. And then 1997, really understanding. If you know, you know. Uh, Game 7, World Series, 1997. I was 15, 16, 16, 17. And yeah, that was my first time realizing this is this is what it is to be a Cleveland sports fan. That was probably my indoctrination into Cleveland sports fandom, because that was pain. Uh, but they were fun. It was just such a fun time. Um, I better not cut too too much into this. He was a great dad, and I love him forever. Um, he I'll miss him. I do every day, every second, every day. I miss you, Dad. I know you'll be. You're probably like, shut the fuck up, kid, and do your show. um, yeah, I won't get too long into it, but he's the reason why I want to do this again. Um, I miss talking sports with him, and hopefully, I can find that here in this space. Um, as we go on, I hope I gain more people along the way, and we can have conversations and talk about things that people would like me to talk about. Um, yeah, this is the reason why I'm back at this. I miss talking to him about sports. I just miss talking about sports. And um, for those that are new and just seeing this, I come from a real place. Honesty, brutal honesty. I'm not catering to, I'm not a member of the media. I'm not, some inside guy with fun knowledge. And I'm not a giant stats guy that relies solely on stats, that I can bring up a bunch of info sheets for you. I mean, I like my stats, okay, like everybody else, like, but I don't need them to form my opinion on whether, like, Shador's, what is it, EPA or whatever everybody was talking about. I'll get into that more on a later video. That is time. That is another time for another video. Um, but I come from a real place, like real fandom. I'm 45. I've seen a lot of shit. Not much of it really good, other than the Cavs. In 2016, I was in Cleveland, downtown. Shout out Copy. He went with me. Uh, Probably one of the best times ever. Also on Father's Day. So that's a little poetic for you. Um, so yeah, that's my dad, and this is why we're here. I'm sorry for all the pausing and trying to collect my thoughts and hold back tears. Uh, so welcome to Believelandia. Uh, Again, if you could please like and subscribe, it does. I know every YouTube person does this, but it honestly helps. Really does. Even if you're stopping by and, you know, I'm probably not really going to tune in for this guy. It's probably fucking boring. All that jazz. Give it a like. Just because you stopped by and you checked it out for like a couple minutes, right? Please. Thank you. Uh well, let's get into this then. Cuz all of a sudden a bunch of things happen that absolutely need to be talked about now. So, without further ado, welcome Todd Munkin, huh? Who had that on their coaching bingo card for the Browns? Especially when Andrew Barry was in charge of the search. This is Andrew Barry's baby. The very not young or analytic driven Todd Munkin. Now, I'm not here to shit on Todd Munkin. I do not want to do that because, first of all, honestly, I like the guy. I respect the guy. The guy is 60. He's worked his entire coaching career for this. Maybe not the Browns, but to be a head coach in the NFL. So I'm not going to shit on that. Actually, anything negative to really say Has nothing to do with Todd Monken, really. Um, because I think that if Andrew Barry was in charge and had nothing to do, like, if this was his search and his way and his guys that he wanted to get into, it would not be Todd Monken. It would be a guy like Shieldhouse or Udinsky, one of these up and coming coaches that you didn't hear about. And stop kidding yourself. You didn't even hear about them until they were brought up in coaching searches. Please stop acting like you know everybody on every staff and this is the guy. I wasn't sold on Shieldhouse or Udinsky. I was kind of leaning towards Udinsky because he seemed to get a lot of credit from older coaches, and he had a lot of good connections as far as the upper parts of the coaching circles, I guess. But at the end of the day, uh, you know, when you're given unorthodox essays to write or homework to do, especially if you're like Shieldhouse, who's preparing for the NFC Championship, you really got time to write essays and do homework. Come on. Um, Either way, that process came back to bite them in the ass. On top of that, it wasn't just that, but you're throwing in the caveat of or caveat. I don't. It's not even a caveat. You're forcing them to take Jim Schwartz as your defensive coordinator. Now, guys, these young guys I'm seeing, especially like under the McVay tree, and now it'll be probably the Mike McDonald tree. These are all young coaches, and they have their own coaching circle now. You know, you have the old schoolers, and now you have the young networking guys. You know, this goes to show you you're not just going to get the young guy just because you have a head coaching opportunity for a young guy, especially the way the NFL works now. Like, you could win a Super Bowl and then be out 2 years later. Like, look near Nick Sirianni in Philly. they they damn well almost he was on a hot seat in Philly. Nobody was really sure. And they blamed it on, and they should have, the offensive coordinator and things like that. But still, I mean, your shelf life as an NFL coach isn't going to be the John Harbaughs or Mike Tomlins. You know, these guys are going to get presented with, they're going to be more selective, is what I'm saying. And when you're, talking to the Browns and they're trying to tell you who you're going to hire in your first time as a head coach, that you have really no say in your at least one half of your staff. I mean, How off-putting is that? Like, think of that. If you were, you know, if you were in that position, like, and you're given an essay and things like that, and don't say that you know you'll follow the Mary Kay theory of these things are just majorly overblown. Tom Pelissaro isn't going to talk about things like that on the NFL Network just for shits and giggles and just to dig on the Browns. Uh, that doesn't fly there. Now, if it was, Mary Kay or Tony Grossi or whoever locally, sure. I, I could see how that could get overblown. You know, these guys are making these guys do essays and things. No, this is national TV being reported. So there's some, if even if it is overblown, there's some truth to it, which is just I I don't even have the words. Like I don't even know how you could expect to even get a top tier head coach that way. Like like so shit gets all blown up, right? Like guys are turning. I've never seen so many younger head coaching candidates just turn down the job. Like, thanks, but we don't even need to do a second interview. I'm not even going to go through that process. Like, whoa. And then, you got Muck in here who is an experienced coach. He just wants the opportunity. So he's going to eat a shit sandwich if he has to. Cuz Munkin wasn't exactly having, the options that John Harbaugh was or even Stefanski. Munkin he only interviewed with the Browns and that was it. He didn't take any other interviews. It was going to be the Browns because he probably figured that this was his only shot. Maybe the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have their own uh, process, which they actually probably hired the right guy out of McVay's, other than Chris Shula, out of McVay's staff, because I think he was the main offensive coach. He wasn't the offensive coordinator, and he wasn't calling plays, but I think he had a lot more to do with it than Shieldhouse. Name and nobody gives a shit. Uh, anyway, and then you go, okay, so Munkin and Jim Schwartz must be they must have worked this all out beforehand. So, okay, you could gotta get on board. Maybe they sold the fact that we're going to have two head coaches on the team. Two experienced 60-year-old guys that, know what they're doing as far as coaching is concerned. Then Tom Pelissaro again. I'm not sticking up for Tom Pelissaro, by the way. I'm just this is the guy who was out in front of this coaching search. Says Jim Schwartz didn't really like that news about Todd Monken. So nobody must have really told him about the plan of keeping him as defensive coordinator. if he didn't get the head coaching job because he flipped his shit. Rightfully so. Visibly upset, said his goodbyes, and told people he wasn't going to be back. Then everybody wants to say, well, he's under contract, so too fucking bad. Well, guys, how was that going to play out? Really? You're going to strong arm stay because he had 2 years left? God. Did we really think that that was going to happen? And then that tells you even more about what's going on with Haslam and Barry and whoever the hell else is involved. Like, like, you know, how do you not have this shit planned out? If you were so hell bent on keeping Jim Schwartz, no matter what, because this was involved when you were talking to guys. And you're talking to candidates about Jim Schwartz. At least throwing out the possibility of what are your thoughts about keeping him? Like, God, what? This never had. This apparently nobody told Jim Schwartz. And this is just so fucking messed up. You can't make this up. You can't. Like, I didn't foresee that working out anyway, as far as Jim Schwartz is concerned. But the only way that I actually thought that it could work was hiring Monken. It only in Cleveland, guys, right? Only in Cleveland that this could happen. Again, and see, like I wanted to say beforehand, this is not about Todd Monken. The negativity is not about Todd Monken. It's the process that they went that took 24 days to figure out after candidate after candidate after candidate, and half of them turned them down and pulled out of the running for the job. Like, I don't know. It's only in Cleveland. Only in Cleveland that something like this could happen. And now, they strung this along for so long that defensive coordinator positions started, getting taken, and the really good ones that you really wanted on your team, if you were going to look outside, they're gone. They're taken. And now you got to look at, position coaches, and they'll probably stay in house because that's about the best option, especially when Monken said in his press conference that they would probably keep Schwartz's scheme. So that leaves you with, see, I don't have it. But, that brings us to Schwartz needing to send his resignation because the Browns thought that, he's under contract. Not if you resign. Like, Jim Schwartz, I love Jim Schwartz. I'm the type of guy that will tell you to go fuck yourself. He's the type of guy that will tell you that. Todd Monken is too, as well. That's why I kind of like Monken. They're no bullshit type of guys. But, like you're going to try to fuck with Schwartz and he's made he's made his head coaching money. He's been a top coordinator. He's won a Super Bowl as a coordinator. Like as they said, I think it was on uh uh ESPN Cleveland. I can't remember the show. I can't remember who said it. But they said, you know, Shorts has got fuck you money. So he'll sit out. He'll chill. He's 60. He'll try the retirement thing for a couple years. And who's to say, he couldn't be brought in as some sort of consultant or whatever. I mean, there's probably a way around it, especially for him, that people just want to pick his brain about defensive schemes and shit. He don't give a shit. When he said he's done, he's done. Ain't no way around that. Like, I don't know what Haslam or anybody reporting that, well, he's under contract. I know for a goddamn minute, contracts don't mean shit until they, mean something to the one that wants to try to hold it against you. And then when you run into a guy like Todd Monken, you don't give a shit. And then, what are you thinking? While he's under contract, what do you think that's going to be like in the building? How's that good for the football team? How's that good for anybody? Even Schwartz. Then, you should look at it, why wouldn't he? He's still the coach. And guys, somewhere along the line, we've all been there, right? And then just, we don't know what was going on in his interviews and him going through this whole process all the way up to the end. Look at it from his end. Maybe they strung him along thinking everything else was a formality. They were trying to cover all their bases, but in the end, he got the hint, or at least he got a very good feeling about getting the head coaching job, which breaks my brain, because then that means nobody brought up about the possibility of, Jim, look, we love you, and we want to go through this whole process to find the right head coach for what we want to do, but regardless, we really want you to be a part of it. Whether that's staying on as defensive coordinator or getting the head coach job, And maybe that did, but maybe he was so into being the head coach. But still, I mean, the Browns had to have come at him like, this isn't a sure thing, but we want to make sure that you're still on board no matter what. And if he has reservations about that, then maybe you shouldn't talk to other head coaching candidates about Jim Schwartz is you're going to be your defensive coordinator. Maybe. You know, just maybe. But what the fuck do I know? I'm a guy talking on YouTube. So cool. So yeah, Jim Schwartz resigned. That leaves them scrambling for a new defensive coordinator. Uh, let's look it up. I think it's Jason Tarver. That's probably the main guy, the front runner, which I'm fine with. You know, he's been with the Browns for God, longer than most coaches. uh Coordinator. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, Jason Tarver, probably the leader in the clubhouse, my opinion. Uh, Ephraim Ephraim Banda, safeties coach. Uh, see, Aubrey Pleasant, fast rising candidate, 13 years of NFL experience. Also interviewing with the Cardinals. Jonathan Cooley, coming from the Panthers. Uh, has ties with John Carroll. He was a passing game coordinator with the Panthers. Maybe from the defensive side of the ball. Corey Undlin has previous ties with the Browns. He too was a passing game coordinator with the Texans. But my thought is Tarver or Banda will probably be the new defensive coordinator. Tarver. Tarver's been with the Browns since 2020. I thought he'd been around longer than that. He was an assistant with the Niners and Raiders. Also coached at Vanderbilt, Stanford, UCLA, and West Valley College. Nice. Bonus points for anybody that wants to tell me where West Valley College is or how the hell they have a football program. Of course, everybody has a football program. What the hell am I talking? Yeah. So those are your defensive coordinator candidates. Stay tuned to Believelandia for further updates. Other fun stuff that happened. Miles Garrett wins Defensive Player of the Year. Boy, it's a good time to be losing your defensive coordinator, huh? Uh, Defensive Player of the Year. Carson Schlesinger wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Congratulations to them. Well deserved. Unless you're in Atlanta that thinks James Pierce Jr. deserves it. He did not have a good weekend. So let's get into this, and this is how I'm gonna wrap it up. Other than we're gonna tie it back to the Browns because as I was further delaying the start of this, some Njoku stuff happened. So we'll get to that when we end it. So something cool really happened. Always leave it up to the Cavs to save us, guys. The Cavs got serious about winning basketball, championship basketball. I shouldn't say winning. By trading Darius Garland for James Harden. Now we can talk about going. I really appreciated Darius Garland. My dad called him Antenna Head for his hairstyle for about a season, 2 seasons. You know what I'm talking about. Other than the fact that he can't stay healthy anymore, he's a really great guard, but he also thinks he's Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving, a lighter Kyrie Irving. And he wasn't a facilitator. And he wasn't consistent as far as scoring is concerned. You know, you'll get a great game out of him one time. Next time out, it's 12 points and 2 assists. Or no assists. Or 8 points. You can't have that if you're part of this core that everybody wants to hang on to. And they've had opportunities. They've, look at last year. Look at last year. The number one team, they were on fire the whole season. Playoff start, boom. We don't know how to play basketball anymore. And then you got Donovan Mitchell trying to turn himself into LeBron and pull these guys to an NBA Finals, which you can't do that anymore in the NBA. Unless you're like Giannis, which he also had a core group of guys that, the Bucks immediately got rid of afterward. So, I applaud, for a team that the second apron shit that I still don't even understand, and people are frustratingly trying to explain it, and they can't even really tell you. They tell you it's just impossible to make a lot of moves. So being able to do something like this, that's awesome. For me, I want to win a championship now. Not 5 years down the road. I know some people can wait now, but guys, my dad was 68. He went my whole life. And the only time that he ever saw the Browns win a championship was 1964. And he was 8. The first time any Cleveland team won a championship, I was 35. About to turn 36. That was 10 years ago. So, you know, I I I appreciate wanting to build a team. I appreciate, you know, wanting to build a core four, core three. You know, I think they truly believed, and I did too. Garland and Mobley were the two keys, but I mean, look at the playoffs the last couple years with these guys. They ain't it. I'm kind of scared because like I'm hoping that this type of move, really turns the light bulb on for Mobley, because if Harden can't get anything out of him, Harden works great with big guys. You know, Harden's a scoring machine, but he's a facilitator. He's a true point guard. And he's adaptable to any guys. I mean, look what happened in his first game with Sacramento. I mean, he looked great. I I I love this move. Even the Dennis Schrader move, and I don't know anything about Keon Ellis, but people seem to like him too. He's a solid player. I don't know how the Cavs are going to operate with 8 guards on the roster, but you know, I need fresh guards, especially to run with the bigs. And it's it's you don't need a traditional big man anymore. You just need guys to come in and get rebounds and help win games. Like, so I applaud this move. I loved it. So everybody welcome James Harden, Dennis Schroeder, and Keon Ellis. Let's go win a fucking title now. Let's get let's get serious. Cause I could really get in. I love basketball. It's one of my first true loves. When I was younger, I loved playing it. I loved it more than watching football, playing football. Um, yeah, football has kind of grown over that over time with me, but I still love me some basketball. It's hard to watch nowadays, but it's better than the all dunking and no shooting days. I will say that a lot of the international players that are fundamentally sound have made basketball better now because you need to be able to shoot and get to the hoop. So, you know, how we actually grew up learning, being taught how to play basketball. So, yeah, I'm excited for the Cavs now. Um, I want to win now, and I think Dan Gilbert. Thank God he's come a long way with heart problems, and you know, Nikki Gilbert passing away, things like that. You know, I think we're getting the old Dan Gilbert back that wants to win, and he's taking his team back over, and like, and I think they they know the core four idea is gone as far as it's going to go. They're not. They can't. Well, they can't get out of the first or second round. They can't even get to the semifinals. So you gotta you gotta make things happen. So with that, we'll wrap it up here. As I was getting things around and collecting my thoughts, which nah, uh, David Njoku came out with this and said he was going to what was it? Going to find a new home. Da, 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 da. Yep. You can read too. Time for me to find a new home. Okay. I appreciated you, Njoku. You were you've spent a lot of time on a lot of bad teams, and you were one of the hardest playing guys out there. You know, might not have caught as many balls as you know you wanted. Everybody wanted to see you catch, but you played hard. You were here. You could have you could have wanted out. You did ask out a long while ago when Stefanski was hired, and you know they wanted you to stay. So hope you find your new home. Please stay on the jugs machine. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if it's because he's getting older, but you know you started to look a little like a offensive tackle than a tight end there, Chief. So yeah, um, we'll probably not miss it because we got Harold Fannin now, who's like our entire offense. That's for another show that I will deep dive into. I see a lot of people have started the who's our quarterback talk now and immediately went to that before we even get to the combine and draft and all that stuff. We'll talk about that stuff. Unlike last year, there will be no mock draft fucking bullshit. I might do one closer to draft time when we actually start getting a good idea about guys and where they're going to go. Other than, spoiler alert, Fernando Mendoza is going to the Raiders. If there's anything I missed, I will make sure I talk about it next time. I'm probably going to try to do things on Monday and Friday. Bookend the weeks, let things play out, set up the weekend, and then react to what happened on the weekend on Mondays, and then and then we'll we'll go from there. I just wanted to get this video out. I wanted to get over the my dad stuff, get back in the saddle, and really put the effort and the love that I know how to do. Anybody that knows me, I we don't have a lot of talk talk conversation, but if you bring up sports with me, I'll talk to you all day and all night. That's just who I am. Might not be able to get the fucking words out, but I eventually do. Uh, Again, like and subscribe. Pretty please. Helps. It absolutely helps. Also helps if you've made it this far. You know, if you've made it this far, guys, subscribe. I'm gonna get better. I just got back into this. Um, Shit's gonna get crazier because it's the Browns and it's the off season. It's usually when the fun stuff happens, and then you can talk yourself into Todd Monken and how we're gonna make this a playoff contender and hopefully get to the thing that the Seahawks can somehow find a way to rebuild their team after Russell Wilson, and then you nosedive, and then you kind of climb back up, and then you nosedive. Then you went out and got Sam Darnold, and all of a sudden you're winning the Super Bowl. Cool. Why can't that happen? Why? Because it's the Browns. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, or if you even watched the first 5 minutes, I humbly appreciate it. Best way to support, follow me, Facebook, Instagram. We'll get the shorts thing figured out, but mainly Facebook and here, YouTube. Be a friend and show some love. Until next time, guys, we got this one out of the way, and I'm very happy. Until next time. I love you. I'm trying to hit the outro. Peace, guys.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need. We're broken, it's tragic. We're not all elastic, but maybe